Thank you for joining us. My name is Justin DeBadges. I'm the sales director for our AlarmBiller application. Just going to jump right in. So we are Perennial Software, the makers of Sedona Office and AlarmBiller. Now, Sedona Office has been on the market for about 20 years, and we have had this application. The top 100 companies in the industry, we probably have around 60% utilizing the application. Now, we created AlarmBiller a few years ago for the small to mid-sized company to run and operate their business. It is a 100% web-based application, again, used by small to mid-sized companies. So you can access this application anywhere using any device, and all you need is internet access. This is hosted by us, so you will not have a server on site if you're going to be utilizing this application. That we have with AlarmBiller, full customer management. So we like to say the full customer lifecycle, from tracking a lead to sending out a proposal, creating work orders, scheduling, and then specifically for our industry, recurring. So we have a lot of the information in this application tied around recurring and doing your recurring invoices, reporting, seeing what does my RMR attrition look like, what's my RMR to date look like. So a lot of those features that you might not have with some of the other applications out there that are industry specific, you're going to be able to pull that information directly from AlarmBiller. A full customer web portal for your customers to log online, pay their bills, and then last but not least, payment processing. There's also payment processing in the application where not only can you generate and create and deliver invoices, but you can also automatically apply payments, run credit cards and ACH directly through the application. So instead of having to go into one application to run a credit card and manually apply it against an open invoice, all of that is going to be integrated and tied into one application. And there's a few other features down here that we'll cover a little bit later on, but our general ledger and accounts payable. Now, a lot of customers will utilize this application with QuickBooks, and we do have an export. And if you were going to use it in that matter, you would use AlarmBiller for your AR, and then you would use QuickBooks for your accounts payable, your chart of accounts, and then if you're using it for payroll, you can use it for payroll as well. Now, AlarmBiller does have a full general ledger and accounts payable built in. So if you want to utilize it as an all-in-one application for that portion as well, you're more than welcome to do so. Invoice delivery options. Now, each customer in the application, when you set them up, is going to have a default invoice delivery method. And there's three options: email, where you can automatically email the RMR invoices; mail, and this is a third-party service where basically the invoices will be sent to us. We'll send them out on your behalf with your remit to information. It'll appear as if it's coming from you, including postage and a return envelope. It'll be $1 a piece. And then the third option is print. So if you want to print those out in-house, you're able to do so. So for example, if you had 500 customers, you would pick for each customer which delivery method they're going to be set to. Now, getting started with the AlarmBiller application, there's two options. You either have a conversion, and we can talk and convert your existing information from your database over into AlarmBiller, and the price is varied based on how many customers and what data we're bringing over. Okay, included, if you don't want a conversion, it's just a flat fee of either $250 or $350, depending on your size. And included with that is a set 2 hours of training. If you're a larger company and you need a little bit more training, we can talk about that. And then ongoing support is included, and you'll get assigned, if you have a conversion, an implementation manager. The monthly fee for AlarmBiller is based on how many active customers you have. So an active customer is anybody that you have active in the system that you're billing monthly recurring to, you have open work orders, open proposals for, and those are considered active customers in the system. So a lot of our customers, for example, might do a commercial job or might do an install but not take over the recurring. So at that point, they would set up the customer in AlarmBiller. They would finish the job. They would inactivate that customer when they're finished, and it would only count against them for the month that they had it active. So that is how the pricing works. Now, the pricing includes unlimited users. So this will have tech access in the field, and then any other users you have in the office, ownership, it doesn't matter. It's all unlimited. It's just based on how many active customers that you have. So if you're over 1,000 customers, it's just going to be a flat $250 a month. So if you have 5,000 customers, it'll just be this flat $250 a month. And again, everybody can log in and access the application. All right, so I just got an email, and I'm going to pretend that I'm a security company. I just got an email. It's a reminder for a task. It's a to-do list. I automatically got this, and I own a security company, and it said, I need to finish a proposal and send it to Justin. He's eager to get started. So I'm going to click on this login right here. All right, so I'm logging in now, and this is my home screen as a user. Now, this is being customized and branded to your company's look and feel. Each user that logs in, you're going to be able to enable or disable specific feature sets based on what user is logging in, okay? So I'm logging in as an administrator. I'll be able to have access to everything. A technician, for example, may not have as much access to some of the information, or might just have access to his or hers tickets. So you can customize that in the setup how you'd like to. Now, when I click login, this is going to open up my home screen, and it's going to give me a couple dashboards here. So within this dashboard, these are just some snapshots of what my business is doing. So for example, my total RMR from AutoPay and how many customers I have in the system that are on AutoPay, my profitability. Right down here, I have what's called the RMR 12-month roll forward report. This basically is going to show all of my recurring items in the system. It's going to show my profitability by month per each of those. And it's going to show for the last 12 months. So it's going to roll forward from November to the past November and show all of my increasing gains for each of my items in the system. Now, if I wanted to click on this RMR tab, here's just a couple more recurring based dashboards that I have in the system. I set some goals for myself for new recurring. So what's my total RMR? What's my attrition look like? What's my canceled year to date? So if I want to run some more in-depth reporting around my recurring, I can always go into my reports or my RMR tab to look at that information. I have all my top RMR by items, so all of our recurring in the system, and then our RMR gains and losses. So we have a library of dashboards, and you can customize that to your look and feel. Now, before jumping in, we also have what's called the Setup tab. And the Setup tab is going to basically customize the look and feel for your company. So when we help you with your training, for example, you're going to have your logo up here, and we're going to create all your users with you. We're going to create all of the information and help you set up for your company. So most of the drop downs that you see within the application can be customized for you. Okay. Now I got that notification of a task, and tasks are basically to-do lists. Okay. And within my to-do list, I have a couple tasks that are listed within here. And one of those was finish proposal. And the finished proposal task was linked to one of my prospects in the database, Michael Jordan. Now, when you're logging into the application, you have a customers tab. And the customers tab is going to show all of your active customers, all of your prospects, and then all of your terminated customers or inactive customers. So whenever you get a lead into the system, you're going to be able to flag it as a lead, and you're going to be able to assign it to a specific salesperson. After that's done, you can create a task for yourself or whomever in the office to follow up with that individual. So now if I click on this link right here, this is going to bring me to that proposal. So if I wanted to take a look at this specific prospect, I can open up the prospect as well, and I can say, okay, here's the proposal that I started. I know for my task, I need to finish that out. And here's the prospect that we brought in. So I see Michael called in. He found us on Google. He just bought a house with his wife and would like a proposal sent. And I have that in my notes. So I started the proposal for Michael Jordan, which is my prospect. And I'm going to go into here and I'm going to finish that off. Now, when creating a proposal in the application, you can customize it to your look and feel. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to add your items, right? And your items can be anything that's not a physical part. So it's an installation charge, it's a discount, and you'll have all of these customized to your company. So when I click items, I can come into here, I can do a quick search. I just added a really basic install of security system. And then I can customize the description for when I'm sending this out. I can also customize the rate, and I added on a discount here. Now, I haven't added any parts yet, and hence why I created a task, because I needed to finish out this quote. So I'm going to add my parts in, and I'm just going to actually search by, and here's a couple parts that I know are going to be bundled together. So I want to add these to this specific quote, and I have pictures of those parts in here as well. I already added the recurring. And then if I wanted to add any notes or a brief description about this installation, I could do so as well. I could also add any documents. So if I had any attachments that I wanted to add to send out with this proposal too, I could send those out as well. Now I'm going to click save because we created this proposal now. And I have a couple options. I can email this directly to Justin. I can print the proposal out and take a look at that proposal if I was right there with them. So here's going to be with your proposal. And maybe I don't like the look and feel of this proposal. Maybe I don't want to have the parts line item. Using a separate application, what we call eForms, and I can provide pricing for that after the demonstration. We have an application called eForms where you can actually customize the look and feel of your proposals. So for example, you might have one template for your proposals that is going to line item pricing and have a lumps have a total at the bottom. You might have another one that is going to hide some of the pricing and will have a lump sum at the bottom. So if you don't like the look and feel of these, no worries. You can customize those using our eForms application. Now, after this proposal is completed, I can get this signed electronically using the eForms application, or if I have an iPad in the field, I can get a signature right here. So if I click edit, I have my open proposal, and then I also have, I can change this to sold. I can get the signature from the customer, and I can complete this proposal. Now, when you're completing proposals, you can automatically generate an invoice. And if you're using QuickBooks, you'll know that QuickBooks can do this as well. Or you can generate what's called a work order. And a work order in our system is whatever you want to label it. So a work order can be a service call. A work order can be a recurring work order, which might be for an inspection. And for this example, since we're turning a proposal over, this would be for my installation. So I can put a status in. This is a new work order. It's a burglar alarm install. And these are, again, customizable to your company. And then I can click continue here. Now, what this is going to do, it's going to close this proposal out. And if we go to Michael Jordan and we go to his profile now, you can see it changed the status from a prospect or lead into an active customer now. It closed out the work order as sold. And then, or I'm sorry, it closed out the proposal as sold and automatically created the work order on the customer's profile. Now, for all your proposals in the system, you have a queue that you can manage. So you might have obviously more proposals that are sent out for just Michael. And in that queue, this will show all your open and closed proposals, the salesperson that's assigned to, and then if they're signed electronically, it'll automatically throw them into a queue as triggered as accepted. So if you have maybe a bigger company and you have multiple people in the office and your salespeople are primarily just responsible for getting the signatures, but after they're accepted, the next stage would be somebody in the office would go into this queue and turn these into work orders. You can customize that and you can fit this around your processes how you need. Okay, so you would simply go into these accepted proposals and then turn them into the work order as we have here for Michael. Now, if I want to schedule out this work order, all I have to do is I can open up my calendar. And my calendar is going to show all of my technicians. And this is going to bring open all the technicians, and it's going to show all the work orders that they have scheduled. So this is going to be your schedule board. You can see how I have all my technicians across the top. Here's the specific appointments for each of those individual technicians, and then they're color coded. So as my technicians are electronically filling out these work orders in the field, the color is going to change based on their status. So I can see Keith's on site right now. Adam is dispatched, and I know exactly where they are, so I don't need to have to call them, follow up, and have the constant communication back in the office. I know where they're at. I know what they're doing, and I can see any other work orders that are scheduled. Very simple. You can drag and drop work orders, reschedule them, and you can automatically notify the customer of any changes. You can also notify the customer when scheduling an appointment, and you can notify the technician as well. So the technician could get a text message and an email. The customer will get an email, and the email will basically have a picture of your tech. They can confirm or decline, and you'll get an automatic notification. And then when Adam's dispatcher on his way, the customer can be notified that Adam's coming with a picture. So the customer is assured that the person showing up to do the work is in fact Adam. Now, if we come back here and we want to schedule out that the work order or the install for Michael Jordan, all I have to simply do is I can pick the technician that I want to schedule it for, and I can throw it on the schedule. I can also take a look at any of my specific technicians. So if I wanted to take a look at a week view of Adam, I could look exactly what Adam has available for this week, and then I can go right onto the calendar board and schedule this out. So if I come into here, I can drag and drop. I'm going to pick a work order, and I know this is for Michael. I can pick the technician. So I actually spelled his name wrong, but that's okay. And then we have the, here's that work order. Have that for Adam. If I have additional text, I can do that as well. And this is a Berg installation. Okay, click save. And then I have the option where I can notify, like I just showed you, the technician, customer, or both. So the technician is going to be allowed to access this electronically in the field and fill out this work order on the fly now. And now this is going to be put on the schedule. So, and this schedule is shared amongst the entire staff, so we know what we have available and what we don't have available. Now, as Adam's putting in his information, he can put his dispatch time in, and you can see he'll be doing this from the field. And as he does, you can see that automatically turned a specific color. Now, going into the work order, in this work order, you can see all of the items and all of the parts actually rolled over from the proposal. So now you're not going to have to manually, if you're getting a proposal signed, you're not going to have to manually type in the parts and items for your work orders. Those are automatically going to come over to the work order, and all you have to do is schedule that appointment out. You can create one appointment, or you can create many appointments. And each of the appointments, so for example, if this was a multi-day job, we might have multiple appointments for each day, and the tech is going to be responsible for putting in their times each day, so we can keep track of all the time and labor for the specific job. Now, again, my items came over, my parts. If I needed to add any parts on the fly, I could do so directly in a work ticket. Any notes that are added, these would be added by the technician on the fly. So if I'm in the field and I need to put any additional notes for that day, I can put any notes in. And then once this is completed, I can actually select the complete tab. I can get the signature from the customer. I can get it signed, and automatically, or I can fill these out, these work orders out directly within the field. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of outline, there's two options, and I see this with a lot of companies. The first is some companies like to hide pricing, which is fine. You can hide the pricing, and maybe we just want the technician, especially if you're doing higher end commercial, we just want the technician to go out, get the signature, put their times in, and then, but we don't want them to see the pricing. Now, the other option is you show the pricing, and maybe we don't want the technicians to have the ability to deliver the invoice. We want that done with a stage and a process in the office. That's fine as well. So what you can do is you can have the technician goes out, they put in their times for the specific work order. So I'm going to plug in my times here. I get the signature from the customer that it's signed. It's actually Michael. And maybe I change the status from new to ready to be built. And I click save. So this work order was now completed. And now I just need the office to go in, build a work order out, and build a customer. And I'm going to put a note on here and say, hey, customer gave me credit card and asked that we apply it. So I'm going to add that note. Oh, click delete there. So I add that note in, and then right in the field, I could collect a credit card or ACH, and it will automatically add it to the customer's account. So now I'm completed with this work order, and I would go into my calendar, go into the next ticket that I had, and complete that as follows. Now in the office, there's going to be a couple ways you can track that. You can track it like we talked about directly through the calendar, and you'll also have what's called a work order tab. The work order tab will show all of your tickets, and a work order is anything you want to label it. It's a service call, it's a install, it's a recurring work order, and you're going to have a queue so you never have any work orders that you overlook. So I can say I have 189 open work orders, so I need to get on the ball because we probably have a lot of work orders in here that A, need to be closed out, or B, need to be scheduled. And I can actually filter and run. And so if I wanted to see and filter, I want to see X amount of tickets that I have that have a creation date of last week that haven't been scheduled out. I can run that. And I can also have different queues and layouts. So if I come in here and I want to look at all my tickets that we have set and the status of ready to be billed that are install, I can come in here and I can load all of that. So if I want to come and I have ready to bill all and I apply that layout, you'll see here's all my tickets there. Here's the one for Michael Jordan. And now, so in this process, I actually have the technicians complete the work orders, but the office staff is going to go in and invoice them. So if I come into the complete tab, now I can view all the notes. I can make sure all the pricing's right. And then when I'm completed, I want to deliver the invoice and have it created and turn it from ready to bill to close the work order. Now, instead of having to get the ticket in the office, manually create invoice, what this is going to do is when I click this button, it's going to automatically close out that work order. It's going to save all of the history, parts, etc., to the customer's profile. It's going to generate the invoice, and it's going to post the invoice directly to the customer's account. Now, this the tech left a note and said the customer wants to use this credit card. So I can say, okay, I'm also going to use a credit card, and this actually has ACH, to apply towards that invoice. And I'm not going to do it for this because I want to show you what the invoice looks like when it posts to the customer's account. So I'm going to click complete work order, and this work order is going to be closed out now. Invoice is automatically generated, and that invoice is going to be posted to the customer's account. Now, this automatically delivered it, and since this customer had a delivery method of email, it emailed it to the customer. So if I want to jump into this customer now, here's that invoice automatically posted to the customer's account. Now, within a customer, I'm going to go over the structure really quick. We have the customer information up top here. We have an email address, the primary delivery method, which we discussed, email, print, or mail. We have the open invoices, balance due, and the total RMR that's being brought in by this specific customer. And is this customer on auto pay? And we can cover that in a second. We also have a unique structure. So within each customer, you have a site. A site is a physical location that we do an install. And under that site, you have what's called the system. The system is what you physically installed. You can have as many systems under a site, and you can have as many sites as you want as well. So if Michael Jordan had a Berg install, fire, access control, you could have those all broken out by systems, And the nice thing is when you're going in to create work orders, the work orders can be specified for the specific system. So when you go back and you have a service call later on, you have the history. There's no confusion when the technician goes out. They know exactly what they're there for, and they have all of that access directly through the application. So the structure is unique in which you can have your site set up and your systems. Also at the system level, you can have your call list, your zones, and all of the specific information geared around the security industry as well. Okay. Now, RMR, when you set up your recurring in the application and you set up your RMR, you have the ability to automate pretty much 100%. Okay, so you add a recurring item, and when you add a new RMR, you're going to pick what is the item code. So is it monitoring? Is it radio backup, interactive services? Whatever you want to label it, those are going to be your items. The next thing you're going to pick is your cycle. The cycle can be monthly, quarterly, annually, semi-annually. And then the next invoice date, right? So if this is month to month, when our recurring invoices are generated and cycled and sent out to the customer because the delivery method's email, when we run it for November, this is going to automatically change the next invoice date from November to December. If this customer was set up as annual and we generated for the month of November, it would automatically change the next invoice date to next year because the cycle was set up as annual. So you don't have to manually go in and track that, and you don't have to group them together. So all your annuals don't have to be on December 1st running. You can set them up whenever you want. Whenever the customer goes live, you pick when the start date and the next invoice is going to be, and then you have your monthly amount, and the cycle amount is your monthly amount multiplied by your cycle amount. So that's your RMR, and you can set up as many recurrings as you want in the system. Now, we saw that the delivery method is set up as email. I also saw that this customer is not signed up for autopay. Now, let's just say I call Michael and I say, hey, Michael, we got your e-check, your ACH on file. Can I use that for autopay? Michael says, no problem. Do me a favor, though. Will you run it? So I know I'm month to month. Will you run it on the 10th of the month for me? Absolutely, Michael. So I set that up. I sign them up for autopay now using ACH. And once I refresh this customer, you'll see whenever I go into the customer, I can see this customer is signed up for autopay using 9263. He still wants to receive his RMR invoice, so this is going to be flagged as yes. Now, you can set up as many credit cards as you want, and you can set up as many e-checks or ACH as you want. So, for example, if I went out for a service call for Michael in the future, and I had a credit card on file, I could use that credit card right then and there on site to apply to the payment for finishing that service. So I'm not having to wait for payment when I can get paid right on site. Now, generating your recurring. So all of your customers have their recurring set up in the system. They have the next invoice date. There's two processes. You can manually go in and generate all the recurring invoices, or if you go right into the setup, you can go into your automation. So let's just say, for example, my company, we send out our invoices 10 days in advance for the next month. So for example, if I have a customer that's month to month, and I want to bill them for December services, I'm going to send them an invoice 10 days in advance for their December services. So all you have to do is you turn on the automation. You say, okay, on the 20th of every month, I want you to go in and I want you to look for anybody that has a next invoice date for the next month. So like I just said, if it runs on the 20th of December, it's going to look for anybody that has a next invoice date for the month of January. It's automatically going to look at the item. It's going to generate the invoice, and it's going to deliver it based on how the customer is set up their primary delivery method. So for example, if we have 500 customers that have a recurring invoice that is going to be generated for the month of January, let's just say, for example, 250 are set up for email, and the other 250 are set up for print. 250 of those people are going to automatically receive a recurring invoice via email. The other 250 the invoices are going to be sent to a print batch. You in the office are going to get automatically notified, and you can go into your open invoice queue, go into your print batch, and print out the 250, stamp them, stuff them, send them out to the customer. Now, if you're using our mailing service, this would be 100% automated, and you would not touch anything. You'll also get, for any of those customers that are on auto pay, a 30-day notice if their credit card is going to expire. So this will send it to yourself in the office. It'll automatically send it to the customer as well. And it'll say, hey, Mr. Customer, your credit card is about to expire. Please log into your online portal and pay your bill. So the whole process for your recurring can be automatically set up. Now, the next thing that this is going to do is when we generate this for Michael, is it's automatically going to look on his account and say, is this customer signed up for auto pay? Yes, he is. Automatically run the credit card on the hold date, apply it against the open invoice, and post it to the account. So you're not having to jump systems to run credit cards for auto pay and manually post them to open invoices. It's all built in. Now, if we wanted to go back to Michael's account and we say, hey, maybe we came in for the day, and I looked at a quick snapshot and I said, hey, our aging buckets are getting kind of high. We need to reach out and run a report and reach out to those customers so we're getting paid. So I run my aging report, and I want to look at all my customers. Now, I can see all of my customers listed within here, and then I can open up the specific customers, give them a call, and make sure that we get paid. So I shoot Michael a call and say, hey, Michael, you got an open invoice on your account. I have a ACH. I got your bank account ending in 9263. Can we use that for payment? Michael says, no problem. So I say, okay, by Michael. I pick the invoice that I want to run this for. I click submit payment. Now this is automatically going to run that ACH. I got an invalid action because that payment method wasn't good. If I did have a credit card on file and it did run, and this is a test account, so I can't run those, it would automatically apply it to that open invoice and then post the payment to the customer's account and close out that invoice. Okay. Within the customer, you can always save documents as well. And using our, you can have custom fields. So if there's any fields in the application that you don't have available or you don't see, you can create those and name those, and they can be date fields. Maybe you want a MAC address field at the site address, or I'm sorry, at the system level. You can add those in as well. Okay, so that's that process. I want to cover, before we wrap up here, I want to cover scheduling a service call. So if you're receiving a service call in for this customer, you can open up their account, or you can open up the calendar and schedule a work order directly from the calendar. And you can see all of the work order history directly on the customer file. I can look at the description of what was done. And then just like you created the install ticket, I can also go to my calendar and I can schedule my service call. So I simply just drag and drop right here, say I want to create a work order, and I want to create this for Michael Jordan. And Michael is for his Space Jam site and this system. And I say Michael is having issues setting keypad. Okay, click save, and as simple as that, I just scheduled that work order now for my technician. The type is a service request, and then the status I can come into here and say is scheduled. So we walk through the same process as completing out that install. The only difference is, you can see all of these are zeroed out, and that's because this customer has a warranty. So how this is going to work is the customer has a warranty, looks at the warranty first. If the warranty is overridden or there is no warranty, it's going to bill based upon the service level. So this specific customer, we have a service level. They have a trip charge for $75, and then we bill them after the first 30 minutes we're there at a labor rate of $75 an hour at 15-minute increments. Now, these will be customized, and you'll set these up when you save these for the customer. And when I go out on site and I finish this work order, I can put in all of my times. I can add parts on the fly if I need to, get the signature from the customer, and since we already have a credit card or ACH on file, I can automatically use that for payment. So I'm not having to wait for a payment to come back. You can process that. All of the history from that install flowed over after we install it, so I know where my parts, I didn't have my locations or zones in, removal dates, and then if I have any custom fields, I can have all my custom fields filled in, as well as any documents, because this has a full document management system as well. Now, I'm going to open this up to questions. And before I do that, there's one other thing that I wanted to cover. We do have an application called eForms. And eForms is a application that allows you to, A, create custom proposal templates. So if you didn't like that template, you can create custom proposal templates. B, send out proposals electronically. So it would send an email to a customer, for example, where it would send it out electronically where they can sign. And the last thing is you can send out your contracts or any other form that you have electronically as well. So if I wanted to come in and send out a contract to my customer, I could come in and I could pick an e-form and I could send that out electronically. The customer can sign it electronically, or if I'm on site, I can sign it with them as well. It's very similar to some of the applications out there like Adobe Sign and DocuSign, but it's automatically integrated into the application. So for example, if I picked my contract for Michael Jordan and I sent it out, it would automatically put in all the information that I told it to as far as name, address, and would pre-populate the form. After Michael signed that contract, it would automatically save it as a document in his customer profile. So it would automate that process, and you can go completely electronic with your contracts. And you can do packages too. So you might have a contract, a customer contact form, and then maybe any other forms that you want to send out as a package that you send out to your customer.